cheating on my wife in my presence. We were at my cousin's wedding reception and were on our way home when my wife, Catherine, came over to me and put her hand on my leg. I knew what she wanted. Heck, she'd wanted it all evening. She wanted it when we were getting ready for the wedding, but I talked her out of it because we were running late. She's been restless ever since. Twice during the reception, she tried to lure me into an empty room to make quick love, but instead of thinking about her, I was thinking about the consequences of getting caught, so I pulled her away again. I knew she must be so horny she wanted to scream, but I had to suspend her again because there was simply no way to take care of my wife, who was 8 months pregnant and sitting in the front seat of the pickup truck. I told her to bear with it a little longer and we would be home soon. She giggled and said, "Give me something to hold on to," and her hands reached for me. I don't know if it happens the same with all women. My experience was limited to Catherine, but when she got pregnant, she became a sexual fanatic. From 3 or 4 times a week, we were seeing each other 6 or 7 times a week, and the further we went, the more insatiable she became. There were days when I couldn't wait to get out of the house and get to work so I could get some rest. I couldn't get away from her at home. When I took a shower, the curtain would suddenly move aside and Catherine would smile at me. She would shower with me, and eventually I would make love to her, leaning against the wall. I would work in the basement, and she would come down the stairs in just her high-heeled shoes, sweep everything I was working on off the table, and then lie on it with her back to me. One Saturday, I was in the garage changing the oil in my pickup truck, and she walked in, climbed on the hood of her Accord, and beckoned me over to her. Pregnancy has caused some other changes in Kat as well. Whereas before she had been a shy, conservative, and very reserved person, she had now become very outgoing and even a bit empathetic in her behavior. Before her pregnancy, Kat was shy about kissing in public, but pregnant Catherine didn't hesitate to pounce on me in the movie theater. I never knew what she was going to do the next moment. One night I invited some friends over to play poker, and Kat caught me in the hallway as I was heading for the bathroom and tried to drag me into the bedroom for a quick hookup. I held her back and said, "No." "But I need it, baby. I need it now." "Not now, Kat. Not when the guys are here. I bet none of them would say no to me. Maybe that's what I should do. Offer them something you don't want. They'd probably all want it." I noticed the change in her look, and she said, Oh, wouldn't that be fun? I want to go and tease them." I honestly couldn't tell if she meant it or not, and I spent the rest of the evening watching her intently whenever any of the guys got up to go to the bathroom. We had driven about 15 kilometers when I heard a horn honk and looked to my left. I saw a car full of Hispanics driving next to us. The one in the front passenger seat was making roll-down-the-window gestures, and thinking he was going to yell at me for my taillights not working or something, I rolled down the window. "Hey, man," he yelled to me. "Can we be next? We can show her a good time." More hooting and hollering erupted, and I muttered assholes as I lifted the glass. Kat pulled away from me just enough to say, "Don't mind them, honey. They're just jealous." We drove another 7 kilometers, and by then I was ready to explode. I pushed the garage door opener half a block from the house, turned into the driveway, and pulled into the garage. I heard the car doors slam, and Kat exclaimed at the same time, "Oh, shit!" I looked back and saw 5 men going into the garage, and I heard the click of knives being opened, and someone's voice said, "Be cool, kid, and nobody's gonna get cut. All we want is a little of what your wife gave you. Those were the ones who made me roll down the window. They walked us home with the headlights off." Catherine got out of the car and was only 3 or 4 steps from the front door to the house, and I yelled to her to get in the house, lock the door, and call 911. She looked at me, then at them, and then back at me before it got to her what I told her to do. That slight hesitation was enough for the 2 men to rush forward and grab her. "You don't want Mom and the baby to get hurt, do you? Take her into the house." He pointed the knife at me. "You go after them and behave yourself, and it'll be over quickly. If you make trouble, the wife and kid could get seriously hurt." He turned to one of the men standing next to me and said, "Ramon, find some rope or something else we can tie him up with." He gestured to the door to the house. You, inside, and be quiet. Don't make us do something we'll all regret. When I entered the house, I found that the two men who had dragged Catherine inside had already stripped her naked. She stood in the middle of the living room, while one of them played with her, and the other held a knife at the ready in case I did anything about it. God knows I wanted to blow them to smithereens. I could do some damage, but in the back of my mind I knew I couldn't handle 5 men, some of whom were armed with knives. I was failing in my duties as a husband and father, but there was nothing I could do about it. Not at the expense of possibly hurting Catherine and the baby. Catherine was strangely calm, standing there and letting the Latino man paw her. She looked at me and must have realized what I was thinking because she said, "I'm not going to resist, Harv. I'll do whatever they want if it keeps my baby safe." The one named Ramon laughed and said, "Hey man, did you hear that? Whatever we want." "Shut up, Ramon, and tie him to this chair." 3 pairs of hands sat me down on a straight-back chair that someone had brought from the dining room and tied me securely to it, and the one who was apparently the ringleader took off his pants and sat on the couch. Catherine looked at him, then shifted her gaze to me and said, "I can't. Not in front of him." "Why not? He could be one of those weirdos who gets turned on watching his wife." "Please, not in front of him." "Where's the bedroom?" Catherine pointed to the hallway that led to the back of the house, and the man said, "Okay, Mommy, we'll do it your way. Pick me up and take me to your bedroom." Catherine cast one last look at me, and I saw the humility in her eyes. She turned back to the man, picked him up, and led him down the hall. I didn't see any of this, but I heard it. I sat to that damn chair, tears streaming down my cheeks. I was ashamed that I couldn't protect my family, and I listened as they slowly but surely turned Catherine into their willing maiden. It all started with the sounds made by the 5 men who were in the room with Catherine. "That's right, Mommy." "You're sick, man." 5 minutes later, I heard it. "Holy shit, that was great! Who wants to do her next?" "Get away from me, you fucking faggot!" I hissed at him as he stroked me. "Calm down, Jim. You're in no position to be aggressive." Dawn was peeking through the window when the bedroom show finally ended. The men left the bedroom and Kat walked beside the last man, holding his hand. At the front door, the man turned to face her. "I'll call you." And Catherine said, "Okay." He turned and walked away. Catherine stood in the doorway and watched them drive away, then turned to me. "Did you hear?" "Yes." "I'm sorry, Harv, but I had no choice." "I know, honey, I know, and we'll figure it out somehow. But hurry up and untie me so I can call the police." "No, I can't let you do that. You're gonna leave me tied up forever? As soon as I'm free, I'll call the police." "Then I won't be able to untie you until they've had a chance to go home and get you off the streets. Do you realize what that means?" "I'm sorry, Harv. I love you, I really do. But I don't want Miguel in jail." "That's right. You can't make love to him if he's in jail. Can't you?" "I'm sorry, Harv. I'm really sorry." And she left the room, leaving me tied to a chair. It was almost 4 hours before she finally cut the ropes, holding me to the chair. It took the first police car 20 minutes to reach the place. When they did get there, Catherine refused to cooperate. When pressed, she said she did it voluntarily. When she said that, I said, "Yes, but I didn't do it." And I described what someone named Luis had done to me. One of the detectives called an acquaintance of his who worked in Vice, and the person he called knew about a cross-dressing Mexican named Luis. Luis was apprehended, and I identified him at the station. He was offered a deal, and he turned in his buddies and gave a written confession of what the 5 of them had done. I was called to the Justice Center to look at the guys to see if I could identify any of the others. Just before I left the house to go down and make the identification, Kat asked me not to. "Forget it, Catherine. If I can chase these animals away, I will." "Please, Harv, I don't want Miguel to go to jail." "Why not? Because he can't sleep with you anymore if he's in jail. Do I have to be a witness to your cheating?" Not in this life, Catherine. That's not the point, Harv. I know you hate to think about it, but Miguel has given me the greatest pleasure I've ever had in my life, and I would feel guilty if he ended up in jail because of it. Please, Harv. Forget about it and let's get on with our lives. No way, Cat. He's going to jail. If you do this, Harvey, I don't know what it'll do to our marriage. Our marriage ended when you left me tied to that fucking chair. The only reason I haven't thrown your sorry ass out on the street is because of the baby. Her face went pale when I said that, and I realized for the first time that she really expected our lives to be no different. That she thought I probably loved her enough to forget what had happened. I picked the other 4 from the list of suspects. 2 of them took the deal, and that got me 3 confessions to work with, as well as a police report where Kat told the cops she did it voluntarily. Kat contested the divorce and vowed to fight hard for custody of our newborn son. The divorce was a pivotal moment for me when I filed the police report and 3 confessions. My attorney used Catherine's words against her when appearing in court. No woman who willingly allowed 5 men to repeatedly make love to her while 8 months pregnant could be a fit mother for a child. The mere fact that she risked the life of her unborn child that night is enough to prove her unsuitability. Not only did Catherine not get custody, but she didn't even get visitation rights. I let her see little Anthony from time to time, but only after she begged hard enough to satisfy my thirst for revenge. She begs for forgiveness. She swears she loves me and only me and desperately wants us to be together again, but it will never happen. I will never, as long as I live, forget that she left me tied to that chair for 4 hours. I will never forgive her for that. The end.